close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go.
Okay, let's begin the event. Matt Mullenweg once said, technology is best when it brings people together. As we are here together in this event to have a productive evening, it gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all on behalf of NOOB Army, who has clubbed us together here for this event, How Pen Testing Looks in Industry, here at ZetaBrim Cyber Talks. I am Abhinandan Khurana, your host for this evening. And due to some technical glitches, my co-host, Ms. Muskan Bawa, won't be able to join us today, but let's move forward. And before heading forward this webinar, I would like to give a brief introduction on our organization, NOOB Army. Give back to the community. This is what we believe. NOOB Army is an open source cybersecurity community, mainly focusing on helping each other in security stuff and becoming the best version of ourselves as well as others. NOOB Army was mainly created for those newbies out there of facing struggle to take a step ahead in cybersecurity. Now, I would like to welcome our guest for this evening with a small introduction, Mr. Rohit Gautam, founder of Hacktify Cybersecurity, a security researcher with a special interest in network exploitation, web application, and penetration testing. Rohit has trained over 50,000 students across the globe and has helped many organizations to secure this infrastructure, such as Apple, Google, Acrons, and many more. Rohit has worked as a cybersecurity consultant with various confidential organizations and projects. He is one of the best cybersecurity enthusiasts in this industry with the aim to secure the internet and train students for the same. Welcome, sir, to our Tech Talk show. And recently I saw your tweet. So now you are an official teacher at UpGrad. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you so much.
Okay, so let's move forward in our event. And okay, sir, can you please explain the corporate side of cybersecurity?
Sure. So thank you, Abhinandan, first of all, for that warm introduction. I'm glad.
Yeah.
Also, thank you, the team itself of NOOB Army for organizing this show, which will definitely be helpful to a vast majority of new people or beginners who are looking forward to know more insights about cybersecurity. Now, coming to your question, corporate side of cybersecurity, first of all, which you have asked. So definitely, cybersecurity in itself is very, very huge. It's a very, very big domain. So let's try to dissect it quickly, and then we'll jump onto the corporate side of how cybersecurity looks from a pen tester's perspective. So first of all, cybersecurity itself, and as we are doing this show which revolves around cybersecurity, why are we giving so much importance to cybersecurity first of all? As the name suggests, cybersecurity, and it contains two words. The first one is cyber, which basically in a very layman language, if I would like to explain, anything that is related to internet will be considered as cyber. And security, we all know, to secure something. So any digital asset that belongs to internet should be secure first of all. So there could be two sides of cybersecurity. One could be organizational side that we are just going to discuss about it. And second is the personal side, to you and me on our personal basis of how can we be secure. As we know that we are transforming with the enormous speed in digitalization in terms of using applications for each and everything from day to day. Since the time we get up from the bed, do we go to sleep, we are so much exposed to digital world. There is actually an application. We did a survey and identified there is an actual application for everything or every work that you do. If you want to order food, if you want to go from one place to another, there are Uber apps, Ola apps, etc. So there is an app for everything. Now you want to consult a doctor, you can do that from your home. So we are so much exposed to the internet that we have everything on our fingertips. Now, this also brings one privacy side of it, and people actually are not much concerned about it. There could be different reasons. One of the reasons that I believe strongly is cybersecurity awareness, but it should and it will automatically come in the long run, and people will understand the security is someone's actually a digital right, and they should definitely look into it. Now, coming to the technological or the organizational side of this, as you have asked that how it looks into a organization or a corporate side of it. So, as I already mentioned, with this digital transformation, which has brought plenty of benefits, such as increased infrastructure. We have cloud services now. We have AWS, Azure, GCP, everything for our fingertips. People do not have to, in organizations before they had to set up big servers, they have to set up networking, which was very tedious task for everyone. Now we have this increased infra, which is actually helping everyone. So a lot of interconnected IT systems, cloud storage, etc. It comes with a wide range of new risk as well. Yeah, there are potential benefits, but it comes with risk. And I personally believe, as being working into organizations since many years, I have worked with many different organizations dealing with critical infrastructure like banks and various government organizations as well. So what I have understood and absorbed from there is not sufficient protection towards the IT infrastructure, which can lead to a catastrophic results at the end. That could be a data breach, or that could be a massive hack that could happen, as we are already seeing such potential examples like Twitter being a very big organization, and they were also under this cyber attack. Although they have a bug bounty policy on HackerOne, still there was an attack that has happened. So we basically cannot deny the fact that into an organization itself, cybersecurity is not that much you can say efficient or properly implemented, which leads to these types of attacks. Now, companies are on a large scale are unaware of how significant the challenges comes when they are increasing their infrastructure towards cybersecurity. So discussing about it, the effects of cyber attack, or let's say if there is a technical fault, or is there a human error that can do a business loss to an organization, because generally organization consider these points for impact whenever we are talking about cybersecurity towards a corporate side. Okay, and I believe from my experience that most common effects on any infrastructure that organization is looking for would be that they should safeguard themselves, would be there is no slowdown in production environments. There is no temporary unavailability of company's website or their CDN networks, etc. There should be no delivery delays. There should be no email loss. There should be no business loss, production stoppage, etc. So what I have done is I have generalized everything into 3 categories, as it is very huge to explain in such short time frame. So we'll just keep it in very short nutshell. So in a nutshell, I believe 3 categories that one should look cybersecurity from a corporate perspective would be: first is cyber attacks or any potential data breach that could happen in any organization. Second is the risk that comes when we are increasing our infrastructure, for example, the inherent risk of using cloud services. And third one, which is very important, which is human negligence. A lot of cyber attacks happen in organizations due to human negligence as well. So there is a term called as shadow IT, if you guys have heard about it. So shadow IT is basically using personal applications for professional purposes or negligence, which may lead to some catastrophic results in the long run. So I also believe this, that there is a lack of awareness among employees, because of which these risks can not be controlled over a larger period. But definitely, if there is proper collection storage process, and there is proper security awareness into the organization itself, then this can be fixed. So just to end this question with some conclusion points, I believe that in corporate cybersecurity, the first and the foremost factor that I believe is, which holds most importance, is the human issue rather than the technological or the tools issue.
Sir, and basically you said like it is like to secure the human brain, because it is the most vulnerable part for this society, and it can be easily manipulated by the social engineering attacks. And main basic is in the industry is the blue teaming, and also the infrastructure about the like you told about this cloud services infrastructure, which is vastly populated these days now. Okay, so what is pen testing and its goals?
Sure. So pen testing in general, everyone knows about what actually a pen test is. So a penetration testing in layman terms, if I would like to call, is simply identifying vulnerabilities, loopholes, bugs into applications, or it could be network, or it could be the infrastructure itself, and reporting it ethically to an organization. Okay. So this is basically what a pen test in general form looks like, and discussing about more in deep about pen testing and its goals. So I believe the goals of pen testing would be, first of all, what is your objective for what we have to do a pen test for? Let's say we want to do a pen test for a web application. So what are our goals and what are our objectives that we want to reach after we have completed this? Second would be attack narrative. So what is basically the approach that we are going to put? Because all the applications have different functionalities, different CMS. There are a lot of different software underlying frameworks as well. So attack narrative is very important in any pen test. So basically, you cannot apply the same narrative in different pen testing applications. It differs on each thing. So in case someone comes up to you and says, so what is your approach? You cannot say one streamlined approach for pen testing. It is always different for each different types of application CMS frameworks, as I've already expressed. The third one would be the process of the phases, that what you're going to conduct. Now, phases would conduct, include initial recon, enumeration, and all that part. And then exploitation, after we have identified a lot of general information about the application, we have done scans, we have run an nmap, and we have done a lot of information gathering. Now we have to do exploitation based on that. After we have done exploitation, we'll try to see if we can escalate our privileges, if we can go into a level into the hierarchy that we get more privilege, or there is a functionality called as maker checker, generally in banks whenever we are testing for. So we try to see into a pen test that if you are able to escalate our privileges, and we are able to get some horizontal escalation as well. And later on, after we complete everything, we just try to wrap it up, and we call it as reporting. So we basically submit a report to the organization wherein we just streamline, or we just add the points that we have identified. Now, coming more towards the goal side of this, so I'm I'll apologize in front. My answers are going to be a little bit long, because I want to pour everything actually what happens in an industry. So the effectiveness of an organization's security policy depends upon how the pen testing is being done into an organization. Why actually a pen test has been done onto an organization is just to identify how an organization is effective in overcoming any cyber attack or anything that could happen in potential future. So we are trying to simulate how an attacker would basically intrude into an organization and perform an attack. So there are also compliance requirements in any organization, compliance requirements and regulation standards like HIPAA or PCI DSS, where people are storing sensitive information of users or clients. So This is one point. And again, employee security awareness is very important. Generally, the goals of doing pen testing into an organization also leads to, if there is proper security awareness into the organization itself, we just try to see how effective the training is done to the employee, so that when actually an adversary from outside is trying to attack, how they behave, what is their first point of action, what is basically they do, so that this does not lead to a very big cyber attack. And again, incident response, we try to see if there is proper incident response as well, if there are any security incidents that have been happening into a well protected secured environment, how people are going to basically assess that and react to that. Also, just we have seen that in pen testing into an organization as well, there are different class, you can say, or categories of pen test that we do. Apart from the normal cloud web, these are certain domains that we pen test for. We also do PT based on types, which is targeted PT. We do a targeted pen test onto an application that is given by our client. We do an external pen test that is sitting from home. I'm just keeping it very simple to understand for all our viewers. Then we do an internal pen test. An internal pen test would be assessing the overall internal infrastructure, how it is working, and testing those applications which are only for the internal organization, which are basically never exposed to the public internet. We also do black box testing, which is also known as blind testing. And sometimes we also do double blind testing. Now, this may be a new word, double blind testing, for everyone. So basically in this, we do not tell everyone of the client side that we are going to perform a test. So basically they are not aware that there is going to be a test that is going to happen. Let's say a phishing simulation. So we do not tell all the employees about it. Certain employees do know that there is a phishing simulation or a test that is going, double blind test, which is going to happen. We do this to actually see in real time how people from an infrastructure or organization are going to behave, or what is their first response to any attack that is happening from outside. And white box testing, gray box testing as well. So these are some of the pen testing phases that we go across, and the goals that I believe in a nutshell are seeing towards the corporate side of cybersecurity.
Okay, that was a great explanation, sir. Okay, we have a question coming from the chat section. It is like, can we apply for jobs as a bug hunter?
Definitely. It's a very, very good question. And I firmly believe and I motivate and encourage a lot of new people who are doing bug bounty hunting. Definitely, this skill set is going to aid or is going to help you in landing a job. Not a lot of people think that bug bounty hunting will help you in getting a job, but that is not true. It definitely helps in landing a job, because the skill sets that you acquire while doing bug bounty hunting in general on different targets, and you be the first where you defend or when you try to be first other than other security researchers in bug bounty hunting, and you identify a valid bug that basically shows that you actually know the concepts, you are doing it first other than other bug bounty hunters, as well as you have identified something which the security team missed from their end. So which shows in the security skill sets that you have, and definitely organizations look up to your bug bounty achievements that you have done, at least for now, for the organizations that I'm connected into, and I've been talking to different organizations. So for any new opportunities, they now add a question that, do you do bug bounties? Do you have any achievements so far? If you have, please explain that. So they are just trying to understand that this guy is not coming up from a theoretical side, because bug bounty is all about practicals. You cannot just read something and say that I know a concept. You have to be practical. So whenever I'm asking about, okay, so what are your top 3 reports, or what is the skill sets that you have showed while doing bug bounty hunting, or what are some unique reports or unique bug that you have identified? So this way I know that the student has actually done some hands-on onto real life scenarios, and that could be helpful into an organization. So definitely now a lot of JDs as well for organizations mention this, that if you have bug bounty skills achievements, please mention that. It is a plus point. So anyone who's doing bug bounty, definitely that is helpful, and it will also help you land a job as well.
Okay, sir. So there is very often a confusion between bug bounty and penetration testing. So what is the primary difference between these two terms?
Sure. So again, it's a very good question, which is being asked by a lot of beginners, and they generally do not understand. They think like, should I do a safe job, that is getting landing a job in cybersecurity organization? I'll do a 9 to 5 job that's good for me. Or should I do a freelance kind of bug bounty thing that I can do it as per my time, whatever time I want to get up, wake up, do this, do that. Okay. And people always try to keep both these things different. I actually believe there is no much difference between these two things. Why? There are some strong points to that as well. So let's differentiate this based on certain points. So the first point that is the major difference in pen test and bug bounties is, in pen test scenario for any organization, generally the team is small. There is only a handful of people, let's say 4 to 5 people, who are going to test or assess the security side of an application. But opposite or contradict to this, into bug bounty scenarios, there are thousands and thousands of researchers who are going to assess the same report, same web application. So this way, definitely, if there are more brains who are going to test it, then there would be more good results coming up. So this is one main difference. Apart from this, one major difference that I see in pen testing and bug bounty is, whenever we are generally doing a pen test for a critical infrastructure like bank, we generally try to assess the overall security of it. That would also include the low level bugs. For example, let's say there is a server version disclosure and it is an outdated server. We definitely do not want a banking application to run on an outdated server. So we will include that into a report as well. So our attack narrative contains these all points as well. Contradict to this in bug bounties, we do not try to see this. We try to go towards impact. So what is actual security impact that one security researcher or anyone is making for an organization? So this is a very, very important point that comes in pen test and bug bounties. But I believe if one has the core understanding of how the attack works and the principle about it, then he can do both the things easily. If you already have bug bounty skills, you are very much welcome to the corporate industry, and you can apply that into your pen testing life cycles or whatever applications you are going to test, and it will definitely help. There is no difference in principles. I'm again iterating this. The attack vectors remains the same. It is just how you're going to assess the vulnerabilities in and critical infra. We try to assess an overall security thing that could be adding informational low vulnerabilities as well, because we do not want to miss anything out there. But in contradict to this, in bug bounties, we only try to create security impact as much as we can. So again, principle remains the same. Only difference is number of people, and the amount of impact that one is going to create in bug bounties would be more. I'm not saying that we do not try to create impact in pen test. We also try to penetrate to the last level, wherein we see how an attacker would simulate this and how much access he could get. But this is a few points that I believe and that are the difference, and one can definitely do both the things. There is no much difference in the key skill sets and principles.
Yes, sir. Well explained, sir. And there is another question that are the reports submitted to the client different or same as those which are reported while submitting a vulnerability assessment?
Sure. So I'll just say that whenever we are going to submit any report, generally, so the short answer is yes, the reports are different. And the long answer would be that generally, whenever we are trying to submit a report to a pen test or a bug bounty program, we just try to keep these 5 points, which are very, very important. So these 5 points are, first of all, the description about the vulnerability. Okay. Second is steps to reproduce that vulnerability. So the triger side or the program owner can reproduce that bug. Next is POC, which is proof of concept. So attaching screenshots, videos, or any payloads files that you want to attach. So the triager side or the other person from the other side of the screen can also try to replicate your issues. Next would be mitigations, and the last one would be references. So these 5 things are very important. That should be there in any report that you are going to send. Either it's to a bug bounty platform or it is to a pen test environment. Okay. But generally, whenever we are doing pen testing, we try to make an attack narrative, which also contains the approach. We do not do this in bug bounty hunting, but in pen testing, we try to make a narrative. What is our approach? How we have identified this? What are the current steps that we are going to do? And what are the future steps? And what we are expecting out of this? So we have to add this everything into a report. And one very interesting thing that maybe not a lot of people know is you may be surprised by this, that whenever we are testing any pen test report, generally whatever we do is when we identified issues. So let's say I identified 3 issues, XSS, SSRF or RCE. We make a report of it and we submit it. But also in critical infrastructure, we make a report of bugs that you have tested and you have not identified. So we make 2 reports. One is vulnerable and one which I have tested in my individual capacity and I am not able to reproduce those issues. Why we do this? You may think this is stupid. Why to make a report of those test cases which are not actually vulnerable or not identified? Why? Because in an organization, we work in certain manner. Whenever, let's say in my individual capacity or my team has not identified those issues, or maybe it must be missed in that particular time frame when it was being tested. But when it is assessed at a later point of time, or someone from outside tries to exploit it at that particular time, we see, did this security analyst or consultant miss this vulnerability? So we just try to go to the report and we see, okay, this security person, did he on the first point, did he check for this vulnerability? So he checked. What is the attack narrative that he tried for doing this? Okay, so he did this 5 ways to test it, but he was not able to identify it. So we generally keep this record and we make 2 reports. One is identified and one is not identified.
So basically, in a penetration testing vulnerability report, we are making whole process how we did how we tested some bugs, and whole process how we did, and what are the main vulnerabilities, how we need to tackle them. And but for the client, we are just reporting them that they have to take care of it on their own. But we need to in the vulnerability report, we have to tell them like how we can change them, how we can improve them as well. Okay.
Yeah.
So how would you save a company from a ransomware attack? And what are your views on SIEM tools, which are really essential for a company?
Sure. So it's a very good question. Nowadays, a lot of organizations are getting infected with ransomware attacks. So first of all, what is a ransomware attack? Just to give a brief, quick introduction to our audience. So ransomware attack is a malicious software, a malware, which once infects into someone's computer. It may come through different sources. It could be clicking an email which you do not trust from an unknown source, or downloading any file from torrent, keygen, like that. So once it comes into our computer, it tries to lock our files. So it basically works on cryptography, symmetric or asymmetric. It depends upon the developer, how he has programmed the ransomware. So when it comes into our system, it tries to encrypt our data, and we cannot see our data. That data could be of your music files, PDF files, etc. And once it is encrypted, there is no way to decrypt it. And if you want your data back, you have to pay some money. That is basically called as a ransomware amount that is generally paid in cryptocurrencies. So this is how basically a ransomware works. Now, we have seen ransomware attacks in organization. When I used to work with organization, we have seen, despite of a very strong security policy which has been enforced into any organization, why did a ransomware attack would happen? So there are few points to this that I would like to add, and then we'll quickly come to my approach of how we identified the root cause of it and how we stopped it. And then we'll just discuss about few tips that one can keep in mind, keeping on a personal as well as professional level, so that they do not get infected using ransomwares. Okay. So first one, I'll just tell a quick scenario that we came across when I was into an organization. So there was a ransomware infection into one of the system, and we tried identifying how did this get infected, and we came to know that one of our managers, he got a pen drive and he inserted a pen drive into our network connected systems, and from that actually USB flash drive, there was a malicious file which came into it, and that was actually the root cause of it. So this happens. As in the beginning, when we were discussing about the corporate side of cybersecurity, I expressed more significance towards the human negligence that is done, and major of the attacks arises due to this only. So what we did in that case, or what would my approach would be in case our systems are being already infected by ransomware. So first we have to isolate the infection from the system that is being infected. So let's say my system is infected. What should I do? First of all, remove it from my network. Okay. I'm not allowing that ransomware to do a lateral movement into my network and infect my whole infrastructure. Or I can just quickly block all the SMB ports, so it is not doing an lateral movement through SMB through into my AD network. Next step that we do is, after we have isolated it so that it is not doing any kind of lateral movement, we identify the infection, what type of infection it is. So we will come to know. So let's say it is NotPetya, or maybe it is WannaCry, or any new version of Ryuk ransomware, or such like that. And then we do a root cause analysis, which includes cyber forensics team into that. So we try to see what is the root cause of this infection coming into the system, from where it came. Is it making a CNC connection, a command and control connection to its server? So when we did a RCA, we came to know that our system was infected and it was making a connection with some Russian IP. Okay, so we just identified that and told our SOC team to monitor it closely. We blocked all the connections. We blocked that particular IP. Next is we make a report. So we make a report out of it, and in the report we mention all the points that we have done and what was the RCA that was done, which is basically the root cause analysis. Then we try to restore our systems. So what damage has been done, we try to restore it. So for restoration, if we have frequent backups, we try to restore from our backups or any older restore points. So generally in an PT or in any organization dealing with cybersecurity or customers' important data, they generally take frequent backups. So these backups are very important, and it is a very, very important point that should be done in organizations, despite of having a very strong approach towards SIEM tools, installing all the security policies. A backup is very important. And then we try to prevent the restore from backups. And the last thing that we do is we prevent ourselves so that this does not happen again in future. So if we identified that someone from inside, some insider person used a USB, we enforce a very strict policy that no USB drives should be allowed. Or we came to know that there was unsolicited email that came inside. So we try to block and we try to enforce this policy that no outside emails would be allowed into our AD. So these are some of the preventive measures that can be taken on. Now coming to the tips side of this, some tips that can be used is, from an organization's perspective, secure the network drives. If the organization is using any kind of NAS, which is a network attached storage, secure that with strong encryption, and please put access control into it. So in case a ransomware is infected any organization or any computer or any systems, it is not literally moving because those network drives are access controlled, as well as we have enforced a read-only access onto those files. So all our data will never get corrupted. And this way we can basically try to minimize the risk that can happen due to any ransomware. In a nutshell.
Okay, sir, that was great. Okay, we are having some questions from our chat box from the audience. So, sir, we have CEH, OSCP, CISSP, CompTIA, Security Plus, many certifications in this industry. So, what are the benefits and scope of the certifications in cybersecurity jobs and internship?
Great. So, this is again a very good question. Generally, a lot of people think that certifications are very important for landing a job in cybersecurity from a beginner's perspective. And I certainly believe this to a certain extent. They are important, but they are not the only thing that will land you a job, or you cannot say those are only the one parameter which is going to get tested for you to get into any organization. It is not a barrier. Just always remember it. Certifications are not a barrier, and it will not stop anyone to get into an organization. So why certifications are so much overhyped, and actually is there certain importance given to certifications, and are they needed or not? In short, certifications are important, but they are not again very important to land a job. I have seen a lot of people, good security researchers, having zero certifications. Without certifications, we can also land a very good job. It solely depends about your skill set. A certificate issuing body, at the end goal of that certificate issuing body is to give you some skill sets or do a practical hands-on, so you basically are aware how it works. That can be done from yourself as well. If you're so much passionate and curious, you can definitely do that. You can solve all the labs out there, OSCP labs or whatever material that you're getting from yourself as well. In any organization that you go, they are going to just take your interview and they are going to judge you based on if you have purchased a certificate, because I've seen a lot of people and I know a lot of people who can give you a certificate or who can write a certificate for you in just few amount. You pay them and they get you a certificate. So this, because of this, organizations also understand now. So basically they are just going to ask you and assess you based on your key security skill sets. If you have 10 certifications or if you have zero certification, they are definitely going to ask you questions. And if you're not able to answer those questions, despite of having certification, they will understand that this guy does not have the core concepts clear. Now, I have seen in a lot of organizations that the first entry point to get a job is a certification, which has been said by a lot of HRs. Compulsory, if you want to apply, get a CH certificate or XYZ certificate. I believe that they generally do this to segregate a lot of people who are going to apply, because they do not want to invest so much time in segregating a lot of people. So it is used as one of the tool for screening people from a large chunk. Okay. But again, definitely it is not a barrier for you to get into a job, into any organization. I have seen people applying for a job in which it was written in mandatory certification required, but they have landed a job because they mentioned into their resume what are the achievements that they have done. They have secured 100 websites or 100 programs in bug bounty. So generally this will be more important for someone who is actually done some practical orientation training hands-on. So I believe this, and again, I'm not against certifications. They are definitely helpful for people, because they give you a path and a journey so that you are not lost in an ocean. So what are the resources that you need? I want to do this, I want to do that, and all that stuff. They give you a path, but it is not compulsory. You can yourself also do that. Some of the entry-level certifications like CH, EJPT, these are considered to be an entry level to getting into an organization that can be also learned by yourself. If you're not able to afford this certifications, I've seen a lot of students saying me personally, sir, I cannot afford this certification, so I will lose all hope to getting into an organization as a fresher. I say this is absolutely incorrect. It is not like that. You will land a job without a certification as well. Your core concepts are very important.
So basically, it depends on the skill set levels, how we will land a job. And like we are practicing on various websites which are available these days, like TryHackMe, Hack the Box, and meditation testing labs. OSCP also have their own. And yeah, so it is like a ice breaking if you have a certificate in the starting, but it's not necessary. You can actually keep it up. Like if you're also doing bug bounty, you can show your like you have passion for doing this stuff, and you have secured many websites, and you have skills in you, so you can definitely crack the job.
Yeah. Okay. So Abhinandan, just adding to this, so if you just do a quick survey and you just try to identify the top hackers out there or top bug bounty hunters on HackerOne or Bugcrowd, you will see that most of them do not have a accomplished certification. Just try to pick the top 10 or top 20. Does that mean that they do not they cannot afford a certificate, they can definitely afford a certificate, but they already have the practical skill sets, and that is very important for any organization. Then they can basically assess you based on what actually you have done into the real time scenario.
Absolutely, sir. Okay, so sir, in our organization during a pen testing, as you told us about the double black box testing, is there any kind of social engineering attacks performed on the personals of the company to check their intellect and what if they are aware about the cybersecurity or not?
Sure. So in an organization, whenever we are doing overall pen testing for the infrastructure, yes, we include this as well. Generally, when we are doing AppSec, we avoid this. In AppSec, we do not do that. But whenever we generally do this every 6 months in an organization. At least where I was, we used to do it 6 months. Now it may depend on other organization. What is the time frame? They may also do it every quarter or every year. So whenever we are doing an overall pen test or a red teaming kind of assessment of an organization, this is a valid point that you have said, and we include this into our narrative that in spite we do everything, we have so much security controls, we have installed $1 million software product from a very good company into our organization for protecting or blocking all our emails, firewalls, or I have installed an 5 lakh rupees software that is going to block DMARC policies into my organization. But still, we add this that we have to do social engineering of phishing simulation kind of stuff into our organization. So we add this and we try to assess our members continuously, and we try to see what is the fail rate into it, and we try to improve it based on that. And into this hierarchy, we try to include everyone. We do not leave anyone. We also send an email to the cleaner, the peon, to the HR, to the highest hierarchy level. We exclude directors, but we send an email to everyone, because anyone can be an entry point into an organization for an attacker to come inside. So we try to send emails to everyone who have a @ organization email, and we try to assess if he or she can be an entry point for an attacker to come inside. So we are just trying to see what is his first instinct over whenever he receives an email. So we'd send some offer emails or urgent system updates. So we try to create some sense of urgency into our emails, and we have seen that it decreases, the fail rate decreases. People are getting aware about it, but still in all the phishing simulations that we have done, there is no complete 0% success rate that we have received. People fail into that, and there are always a human negligence that happens into organization. And I encourage other organizations to also do this, because an organization like Twitter was also susceptible to this kind of attack. So definitely those people working over there are very stringent towards their security, but they are still a victim of these types of social engineering attacks. So why not us? So other organizations as well should always include this into their attack narrative, that doing social engineering simulations in organizations are very important. Do it once in a year, but it is very important. Awareness is very important. People come to know about what things are happening, because this is an attack vector which can never get mitigated. You try to install any software, this will never get mitigated. There are policies like bring your own device. People bring their own device, install malware into it. They go home, they want to watch a movie. Let's say a new movie is released today. They just download it into their own device. They go back to the office, connect their computer into the network, and this way there's a lateral movement that will happen. So it cannot be prevented. Human negligence, we only can do as much as security awareness. And I think it is very important on an organizational level. Also, Abhinandan, on a personal level, it is again very important for every one of us. Seeing towards so much digital exposure, me as a student, as a student, as a professional, your parents, everyone around you should be aware about this, and they should take some security steps at least to protect their digital identity. And I believe digital hygiene is very important, and everyone should be aware about phishing and social engineering kind of attacks.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely. That is really very important for us to keep us in that minds, because our parents, they don't really know about these kind of stuffs. And there is also web series named Jamtara, I guess, in the Netflix, you can say. It is also based on like that credit card theft that the people used to do on the people, and do the social engineering attacks and getting their CVVs and stuff like that. So we are the developing generation. We need to take care of these stuffs and be aware, and aware everyone else in our environment, like in our society also. Okay, so a few years back, I guess there was a problem with the Alexa. Someone like hacked that IoT device with some laser beams, and he also told us about the infrastructure like cloud security. So please give some light on these topics like cloud security and the IoT devices security, how it can be performed, and what are the vulnerabilities which we can come across these days.
Sure. So as we are getting so much exposed towards IoT as well, now everyone has a smart TV, smart refrigerator, or smart home, or smart devices. People are getting smart. Actually, this is 21st century. We are getting so much exposed towards digital assets, and people like to get actually smart. But there comes a security downside to it as well. There are always two sides of any coin that we see. There are always pros and cons that is going to come up with technology. Not a lot of people think towards this side, and because of this, there are some data breaches, or this type of things actually happens on a very big level. So people should always also think about it. So yeah, as you have already mentioned about this smart voice assistants, so there was a lot of news going on about this, that how they actually function, or the audio that they are recording, are they using it for some analysis purposes, or they are sending this to those 3-letter agencies? So we were not aware about that, and there was a lot of research done into this as well. A lot of times this was asked from organizations, and there was always a similar answer that we got from all the organizations based on many research papers and reports, that we do this for improving improving basically the overall feel to any customer, or how they use our products. But at the back, we do not know how, what or how they are using it. Maybe it could be for using for different data analytics perspective as well. And we have also got many reports that Facebook was actually sharing a lot of data with other marketing companies, which were using our data for other data analytics purposes. So definitely they do this. So we from our end have to take some important measures from ourselves, that these technology is very good for us. We are getting smart, but we also have to see a privacy downside of that. If not necessary, do not expose yourself to these all digital appliances like a smart home assistant, voice assistant, etc. Because there are a lot. If you read about a lot of different research and reports and vulnerabilities, organization or a bank was hacked using a fish tank, because there was a digital thermometer which were into that fish tank, was connected to the network, IoT network, and through there was a security vulnerability, a older version of software that was lying there just because of that. So these all issues happen. People are using products, and products come with vulnerabilities, because products are being made by people, so there are going to be security issues, security flaws into it. Okay, so this is one of the reasons that this happens, and I believe that we should not get overexposed to these types of smart TVs. Smart appliances which are not necessary for us. Okay.
Yeah, okay, sure, sir. And as you told about, like, they use these technologies for collecting data for them and improving their service. So I came across the fact that YouTube also try to listen to what we say. According to that, it creates the feed for us, that YouTube feed. So I also disabled, there is a microphone feature on by default in the YouTube application, and you have to turn it off if you don't know. So this is the service as well. And also there's as we are running out of time, sir, I will move to the last question. like how to start a successful startup like Hacktify,
Mhm.
and what are the legal measures for this, like for this cybersecurity, like learning how to start the cybersecurity services company, like providing VAPT, pen testing, SOC, and incident response these times.
Sure. So again, a very good question, Binandan. So I believe there are not much legal sides to it that can be handled by a professional CA or a representative who can take all this things and he can get into those processes. It is not that difficult. What difficult is that in an organization or any organization that you want to start with, actually what is your end motive or what is the vision to start that organization? That is very important because there are already a lot of such cybersecurity startups that are coming up. Now for you to nurture your cybersecurity startup as a baby and bring it up to a certain height, so that you have to have definitely a solution of a common problem statement that you are going to solve. Okay, because everyone out there already has a organization related to cyber, but they cannot come to a certain extent just because they are not focusing towards the problem statements or the common problem that is coming up. Okay, and there are already a very huge organizations for this which are already giving their products and services. So for your organization to come up and to go in a very long run, it is very important that you have a great vision and you're actually solving a certain problem. So you have to just be innovative, and you have to, it is not just about solving a very huge problem into the society, just the small problems you could solve in cybersecurity. So coming to Hacktify, we generally saw that there was a very big gap in quality education that is actually happening in an industry. We saw that this is not taught in college. People are not aware about it, and when they come out of the college they apply to industry. So they basically say, do you have experience? So that generally that kid who have just come out of the college thinks, I've just come out of the college, how am I going to get experience if you do not hire me or you do not give me employment? At this particular situation, the kid goes under a dilemma that what should I do? I'm not getting opportunities to go into an organization itself because I never had done hands-on. It is not the mistake of that kid. He is just going through the conventional education system that everyone is going through, but the industry is expecting him to be coming out of the box or to be different from actually other people's who are with him. So we saw a problem over here. So we had a problem. So now we wanted to make a solution. So what we thought is taking all our experience and absorbing it into a form of trainings and give those trainings to these students who are just coming out of their shell from their organizations, and nurture them and basically make them aware by giving exactly the same infrastructure, same experience, same things, same technical terms, same jargons, same experience that they are going to get into any industry. So they feel, oh, I've already done this. I'm doing this since last 6 months, 1 month. This is not new for me. Okay, sir. So they go into an interview and they say, okay, sir, I already know this, what you're talking about. I know what is attack narrative. I know how to make a pen test report for your organization. Oh, so you do this. Why do you not do this? These are 3 steps that you should include into your organization. So we are basically, in short, trying to bridge the gap between an kid who is coming out of a college and is willing to get into any organization without any prior practical knowledge or industry knowledge. So this is what we are believing into.
So that's really amazing to hear. And sir, moreover to this, there's a question from our chat section. Like, is lab solving on platform like Hack the Box and Try Hack Me considered as relevant experience for pen testing? If yes, to what extent? Like you said, like people don't have much knowledge about the hands-on practice for this pen test when they move to for interview. So is this considered relevant enough?
Sure. So I think this is a very common question which has been asked, and when people try to identify that, when if I'm doing CTF on these platforms like Hack the Box, Try Hack Me, is it going to help me, and is this going to get counted when I'm going to apply for an organization? So simple answer is yes. It is counted. It is helpful. Anything that you do into your day-to-day life which is going to enhance your skills is helpful. Either you do Try Hack Me or you do DVWA. That is going to help you. That is a simple answer. Now, a lot of people's personal choices depends on this. A lot of people think in a different perspective, and they think the time and efforts that I'm putting into should be rewarded. So they generally do not like to do CTFs. They instead put all this efforts into bug bounty programs. This is the reason they also do not go towards those programs or not paying or points only programs. But I believe CTFs play a very important role in overall shaping of any individual like you or your colleagues or me or anyone. CTFs are important. We cannot neglect that particular fact. And if you're learning from these platforms, they also try to simulate some kind of actual attacks that you may also see in organizations. I'm not saying that it is only hypothetical conditions that you come across in CTF. You can definitely apply that into your pen test, also in our bug bounties as well. And there are actually relevant examples that we can learn from CTFs, that researchers have solved some CTFs and they have applied the same thing into bug bounties. You can just look up for these some examples, and yes, that actually helps. And this will definitely help you in getting or landing a job as well, or personally enhancing your skills.
Absolutely, sir. Actually, I've also been doing these CTFs from quite a while now, like doing Try Hack Me and Hack the Box, and it really helps me. Like in a logic building.
Yes.
For this, like how to use some bugs and how to know what is the vulnerability and how you do coding the footprinting and reconnaissance stuff, and then moving forward in a formular way and noting these down and then submitting the flags as well. Okay, sir. It was a really great session with you. And how was your overall experience in this session so far?
Oh, it was great. These were some very good questions that you have asked. Generally, these are the questions which are not asked to me. This was one kind of an unique experience, asking me towards the corporate side of actually what happens in cybersecurity and industry. Many of the talks that I've given revolved around bug bounties, OSINT, recon stuff, but this was a new experience. So I actually loved it. Thank you for having me onto the show.
Thank you so much, sir, as well from our side. Okay, so thank you so much, sir, for your precious time. And I would also like to thank the audience for your cooperation and being a patient listener. And a special thanks to our team of NOOB. Hope you all enjoyed this session. By this, I have Abhinandan Khurana signing off. Bye, everyone. We are winding up this session. Thank you. Take care.